Hello everybody, Storm here. Welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. In the last episode, we worked on designing and building a new lander for Duna that will carry and deploy a rover. It took a little bit of working and testing to get something that should work correctly. And as you can see, I've gone ahead and brought it up to the Ballista here, ready to head on over to Duna. So, we are crewed. We got all the equipment we need. I think we're just about ready to go ahead and get going. There is actually one other thing here. There's a couple of new parts I brought up. These two tanks here that hold additional liquid hydrogen and oxidizer. So the plan is going to be that after we do the ground mission on Duna, you know, this thing drops, lands, takes back off, gets back into orbit, that we'll get docked back up, and then we're going to refuel it from these tanks, and then fly it over to Ike, and then land on Ike to get some stuff from, some science from Ike on this mission. So that is going to be my intent. We'll see if we're able to get that done. All depends on if we can have a fully successful landing mission on Duna first. So I haven't even looked at anything here, but I think it's time to depart. Crew's ready. We just need to start firing up the reactors. Alright, so there's our reactor control panel. So let's go ahead and flip them on. Alright, 6,000 ECs per second, 6,000 ECs per second. 5 years. Endurance for both, but actually we have additional fuel supplies in the canisters here, so we actually have about 10 years of duration on those. And let's go ahead and start planning our departure. Now, where is... I was kind of hoping I could use the moon as a slingshot assist, but not in that position, because I'd want to slingshot myself in this direction. I think when we're going to Jewel, we're going to need the moon in proper position, because I'm going to need that slingshot assist off the moon. Just to save myself some Delta V. But for this, it really shouldn't be an issue, because we have way more Delta V than we need. Alright, so the initial escape. Well, I am actually getting an encounter here. But it's actually not one that I want. Now that's interesting. Huh. I can actually get an assist off the moon. I didn't think I'd be able to. Alright, well, does that mean my initial delta V doesn't need to be necessarily so high? Let's see, but I need escape, right? That does throw me in the direction that I need. The closer we can get, the better. Alright, I'll go with that. That should be good enough. I'm going to kick forward. That should elevate our resultant orbit. 916 meters per second. Delta V. A burn time of 7 minutes and 14 seconds. Alright, let's get everybody in a position. So we're going to need our pilots, Jeb and Valentina, to move to the control module. And let's go ahead. And I'm actually going to use the maneuver planner for this to tell it to execute the node. Now, can this thing rotate on its own without RCS assist? It doesn't look like it. We have quite a bit of monopropellant available, so should be all right. And I did take an additional supply module up to the station. So the station has 3 years of supplies left. Still keep saying we have stuff to do here. But I'm going to wait until, at the very least, we are in interplanetary space. It doesn't maneuver very quickly, does it? Let's see, we've got all these engines are on. Nobody else is on, so that's good, so we won't have any problems there. Now, center of mass is right there. That's where the camera's focused on. Yeah, one thing I'll have to do is make sure that RCS tanks are fully fueled over here before we head out. Let's see, what's our mass? 465,000 kilograms. 465 tons. Delta V. The stage numbers are really weird. Well, no, stage zeros are fine, because stage 0 is the lander. So 13,000 meters per second means the engines can fire for an hour and a half before they'll empty. Alright, so it's just about oriented. Some piece of debris or something else up there. Heading away, though. I think that might be Jewel. Alright, there we go. Turn the RCS off. Shouldn't be needed here. We're under thrust. These engines can gimbal to provide any attitude corrections that are needed. So. All right. So we've got 7 minutes. Well, 7 minutes of in-game time, which, considering the amount of slowing that's occurring to deal with all of the physics calculations, might take a little longer than 7 minutes. Alright, so what I'll do is I'll go ahead and pause the recording here, and I'll be back once this maneuver is almost done. Alright, maneuver is just about done. We've got about another minute and a half left to go. Game time. So, there's Kerbin. Let's see how the actual orbit's looking. It's getting there. And then we'll have to see how the actual, what the result is. If it lines up the way we expect. Let's take a look inside. Let's get a view from Jeb's position. There's a control panel, nav ball, throttles. Is it Valentina? Nice holographic projection. I'll take that. Electric charge is looking good because we're getting the getting some good sun on the solar panels. So the engines are taking up the entire load of the reactors. So everything else is running off the solar panels. Oh, and now we're losing the light. So now we might start seeing the electric charge drop. No, actually it's holding steady. Alright, orbit is starting to expand out. We actually have an encounter with the moon at this point. And we're getting to escape trajectory. There we are. We're now at escape. So I could just shut the engines off now at this point. And it'll work. Periapsis is increasing. Okay, good. So I'm like, I do not want an impact trajectory with the moon. It's gonna line up pretty good. But not quite exact. It's fine. Yep, we'll go ahead and cancel the node execution, get rid of the node. That is good enough. Alright, so we're going to do a fairly low pass. Well, I mean, not that low actually. 148 kilometers. Yep, that's the remnants of the longbow. Over there. Just kind of parked. Alright, so I think we can go ahead and shut the reactors down. Because I don't think we're going to be needing them for any maneuvers anytime soon. So we will go ahead and turn them off. And so they should start gradually cooling down. Yep. These radiators work perfectly well. Got a little warm, but that's, you know, what they're for. Alright, so let's go ahead and warp it out to our moon encounter. We're getting sunlight again. Visual observation. Visual observation while on a hot space high over the moon. 30 science. You know what? I'll go ahead and transfer that data back. Aquatic species observation. Restoring functionality will require a scientist. That's fine. Go ahead and transmit that data back. That's from the aquaculture module, which I think is this one. No scientist present. Alright, so Bob, you're going to have to take some shifts. Okay. Let's give me a little bit of trouble here. Transfer crew. Bob. There we go. Now, are you actually going to have to get out? To clean experiments? No, there we go. Now we can clean experiments. All right. Complete. Now, if I observe species, yes, I can send that to the lab. We can start research. Okay, and then clean the experiments. So it'll take that 25 data and turn it into 125 science. All right, at least something to work on while we're flying. All right, now, do I have what my resultant orbit is going to be? Yes. Okay, good. And we get some pretty good elevation there. Now, let's see. If I were to add a maneuver out here... ...1 year, 110 days, 5 hours? No. All right, well, let's warp past Let's warp past our moon encounter. We'll get that little boost. Alright, so we're back in Kerbin's Sphere of Influence. 4 days till Kerbin escape. Alright then, warp out there. We got all kinds of stuff going off over here. Visual observation. Alright. Visual observation while in space, high over Kerbin. Send the data to the lab. And then transmit some back home. Alright. Plant growth experiment. Alright, you open the shutter to see what impact it may have on the plants. Nothing happens immediately, but later on you log that one of them has shriveled and possibly burned. Particularly a sunwood plant. That's not a good sign. Alright. Process in the lab. Aquatic species observation. Send that data to the lab as well. And then we'll have the lab clean those experiments. And then we can transmit back home as well. We apparently have a gravity scan we can do. Send the data to the lab. And then transmit the rest back. Making plenty of power. Alright, how's the lab doing? We've got 128 out of 1500 data. Rate 1.5 signs per day. Alright. Good. Good, good, good. Give those guys something to chew on. Not worried about those gravity scans, really. Okay, so we are now out of Kerbin's Sphere of Influence. So let's do another one of those visual observations, send it to the lab, and then send it home. Oh, we're still warping. Gravity scan, process in the lab. Alright, clean the experiments. Alright. We've already done the gravity scan, so... Plant growth experiment. get all the data transmitted, and then we'll process the rest. Process the rest here. We can store 500 science. Alright, we'll have to keep an eye on that. 3.2 science per day. Alright. So, I need to figure out what the actual rendezvous here is going to be. Set as target. Alright. Let me actually try and do the maneuver manually. Let's see what I can get here. Calculate the maneuver node manually. Okay. We are kind of leaving at a non-optimal time. Let's see. Actually, if I were to have this calculate me a transfer, create the node, when does it want to do it? Node in 4 years, 263 days. No. No, 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 no. Sometimes it'll come up with something better. Node in 353 days, 3 hours. Burn time, 6 minutes. So in about a year, we'll spend a year in orbit, and then we'll probably spend another half year before we even get there. I mean, we've got the life support. Okay, so I know that can be done. But I can do things a bit more aggressively, because I have the Delta V. Even still. All right, let me see. We're behind it, right? We are behind it, so we need to catch up, which we are doing. An aggressive Yeah. I think that's really our only option then. Okay. I mean, it'll work. Create the node. I don't want the one that's 4 years away. Try again. Alright then, we'll just do it manually. Alright, so there's our encounter. Now, what I'd like to do is tweak it. So I want to focus on Duna. Okay. So let's see. If I were to slow it down... No, actually we need to speed it up. Alright, so... Oh, there's our original Duna lander. It's still out there. Oh, makes sense. I left it in orbit. Alright, so that brings us in a good plane there. Alright, so if we want to... Ooh, no, that's impact. Alright, I want to lower that scale even further. Now, I have to remember that it's going to be a 6-minute burn. So it isn't going to quite line up as much as I'd like. Now, what if I were to try to flip it to the other side? I would enter this way, and then have Duna's gravity actually try to slow me down a little bit. And redirect me. That might be good. Well, that even would create an Ike encounter, but that won't happen. I think at this point we just need to get reasonably close and then see where the maneuver actually ends up. And then we'll have to tweak from there. And then once we're actually in the sphere of influence, we'll have to tweak some more. Alright, so that is a 909 meter per second burn in 342 days. Not quite a year. One year, 229 days from now, we will be over here. One year, 229 days. All right. And given that we have, 6 years worth of life support, will be fine. It's going to be another 7-minute maneuver. But we got a ways to go before we get there. Alright, so how are we doing as far as this? Okay, well, they said it was going to take, what, 40 days or something to give it like 50 days to process? Alright, well, Jeb and Valentina no longer need to be in the pilot seats. They've been sitting there for a little while. They can go back to the habitation area. But Bob has got more work to do. Alright, now, before I advance time any further, I want to switch over to the station, the Kerbal 1 station. Switch to. Alright, now over here, I want to look at this guy's science modules. 648 data still here, 7 per day. Go ahead and transmit. All right. That is done. All right. So as you can see, I removed the one, part there, and I brought up another one of these life support modules. And actually, performance around the station has improved significantly since I did that. But I do need to bring up more lithium tanks, which is going to be probably one of my next off-screen projects, is to bring over more lithium tanks and then run a bunch of mining missions to fill them up. So, that's going to be some work for me to do. Alright, just wanted to check that, take care of that. Alright, so we'll go ahead and switch back to the Ballista. What I'd just like to do is warp about 60 days from now. I think 60 days should be fine. All right. All right, so let's find that point 60 days out. Two days. That's going to be a little while. 34 days. 58 days. 62. There we go. Warp there. Alright, warp complete. Let's check the science lab. Well, they only got 185 days, or 185 science. But I'll go ahead and transmit it. Alright, and what I wanted to check here also is my time to Joule. We still got plenty of time. Alright. What I think I'll do is I'll go ahead, we'll end the episode here. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to kind of jump things forward, transmit the science home, and I'll probably end up taking care of this maneuver off screen as well. Remember to turn the reactors back on. They're still not completely cooled off. Even after 2 months, they're still warm. Though that may just be kind of where they naturally fall down to. But, you know, go ahead and stop here for today. I'll take care of that maneuver, and then we'll see where we're at, what we have to do next. See if it's time to launch the Joule mission, or if we are good to go ahead and push forward to our Duna encounter and begin our capture operations there. Which is going to be interesting because I want to try to do the aero brake and see how that goes. Alright, so for now, hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Go ahead, like, subscribe, and comment, and I will see you next time.